Hey guys, my name is Amber and I am the owner and artist behind Unique Upcycles. This is my first YouTube video, so be kind, still learning. Anyways, today I will be transforming a 1990 Bombay bachelor chest of drawers, is what I found out it was called. This guy right here. So if you want to see how he started and how we got to this point, go ahead and stick around. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so that you will be notified when I do future videos. And let's go ahead and get started. This is the piece that we'll be working on today. As you can see, there is a chip missing from the veneer on that front pull-out tray. And the top has definitely seen better days with some deep scratches and gouging. First step is to remove the drawers from the piece so that we can prepare it to be cleaned. You always find interesting things in used furniture, but this is definitely a first for me for a sock and a unused diaper, thankfully. After battling with this pull-out tray for longer than I would like to admit, I realized that there was two dowels on the very top that I was not going to be able to get out. It definitely won the battle. I eventually gave up and just left it in place and came up with a plan B, which you'll see later in the video. After losing the battle with the tray, I decided to move on to removing the hardware for the drawers. I am going to reuse this hardware, so I wanted to make sure that I kept it all together by having a Ziploc bag there so I wouldn't lose any of the little pieces. One of the most important and normally overlooked steps is cleaning the piece. You want to clean your piece completely inside and out to get rid of any dirt or grime. You want your paint to stick to the surface and not to whatever is left behind. I normally use a TSP cleaner. I was out, so right now I'm just using some dish soap and a sponge to make sure I can scrub everything off to have a clean surface. Once you're done cleaning, you want to just wipe everything down with a damp cloth to get rid of any residue that was left behind from any of the cleaner that you used. Now I'm just going to be filling in that veneer chunk and any other damage with some wood filler. After that dries, I'll sand it smooth. Now that my wood filler is dry, I'm sanding to get a smooth surface. I'm alternating between a 120 and a 220 sanding block. I will leave a detailed list of all products that I use in the description. Once you're done sanding, you're going to want to wipe back any dust that was created with a dry microfiber cloth. You can then tape off any areas that you want to protect from getting paint on. I prefer to use frog tape. I'm now going to prime using the Zinsser Bullseye 123 primer. I'm only going to be priming the top and the front pull-out drawer. We are using chalk paint, so it's not necessarily needed, but there was a lot of gouges and areas that I wood filled, so I wanted a smooth surface. I am just using a cheap chip brush you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's to apply a thin coat of primer to these areas. We'll be using the color Hurricane Gray by Dixie Belle, and I'll be using my bare oval decorative brush to paint today. When using chalk paint, you can always dilute it down with water. I have a spray bottle handy. You can do brush strokes in any way. With your first coat, you definitely want to keep it to be a thin layer so you can avoid runs and drips. With this first coat, as you can see, you're not going to have perfect coverage. It is going to be patchy, but once again, this is just one of 3 coats that I will be putting on this piece. I've now switched over to my Zebra 1-inch square brush. It works really well for the small sections on the front of dressers or even spindles, anything like that. It works great for. This is what coat number 1 looks like after it's fully dried on the drawer fronts. As you can tell, it's definitely splotchy and needs a couple more coats. I'm now starting the second coat. It's the same process as the first one. I did do a total of 3 coats of this paint for full coverage. Since we are using chalk paint, we will need to seal this piece for protection. I am using General Finishes Flat Out Black Top Coat, and I'm using my Zebra 2-inch chiseled wedge brush. I'll apply a total of 3 coats over the entire piece, and I will sand in between coats 2 and 3 with a fine grit sandpaper. When sealing the front like this, I do like to switch over to a detail brush to help get more into the exact area. It'll prevent any runs or drips that could happen from having too much top coat on your brush. Now that I have the first two coats on, I'm going to go ahead and sand very lightly with a 220 sanding block. You want to sand just enough to kick up any white dust to make sure that you have a smooth surface so that final coat goes on without any imperfections. Before you apply your final coat after sanding, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that you wipe back any of that dust with a clean microfiber cloth so that you have a dust-free surface for that third and final coat to go onto. You'll then apply that third coat in the exact same manner that you applied the previous two. And here's plan B for that pull-out tray that I was not able to get out. I knew that I couldn't paint it because the paint would have made it too thick to slide in and out, but I wanted to do something to it since it did have some flaws. So I went ahead and taped off some stripes to kind of make a design, and I'll be using rub and buff in the color pewter to create that look, just to give it a little something extra. I did apply 3 coats of that rub and buff, and after removing the tape, I am happy with the results. This hardware had a lot of patina on it, so I did an apple cider vinegar soak. So it was 3 parts apple cider vinegar to 1 part water. I boiled it and then let the hardware soak in it for several hours. I then took a very fine grit steel wool and buffed it until I was happy with the sheen. And this is the final product. I am very happy with the way that it turned out. I really do like the gray with the brass hardware, and the stripes on the pull-out tray is a nice surprise. Let me know, what do you guys think? Is there anything that you would have done differently? Any questions? Remember to like and subscribe so that you can see more content that will be coming in the future. And if you don't already follow me on Instagram, I will include that in the description, as well as a list of all the products that I used and all my equipment. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.